Coping with COVID and In It Together SC present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
It's Wellness Wednesday and In It Together SC and presents the Diabetes Action Council on Wellness Wednesday on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor, and thank you so much for joining us today. Well, it's Heart Health Month, and as we take care of our figurative heart this month with candies and flowers and dates and, oh my, all kind of great things, we've got to remember to take care of our actual physical health. And today we are here to talk about just that. Board-certified general practitioner Dr. Nicole Edwards joins us today, plus Crystal Kirkland, Executive Director of the American Heart Association. And we also have heart health survivor Kimberly Suber. All of these ladies will join us and talk to us next about Heart Health Month. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having me, Craig.
Thank you so much. That and more coming up next on Coping with COVID, but first, your COVID community updates. The Bull Street Project in Columbia is moving right along. In addition to the baseball stadium, shops like REI and Starbucks, a retirement community, and homes already located on the site. Construction is underway for 28 additional townhomes and 200 apartments on the property that is actually zoned for almost 4,000 residential units, plus Publico Restaurant, Sanctuary Food Hall, and a law firm have announced plans to move in that area. It's set for completion at the end of the decade. South Carolina State University unveiled its monument to the victims of the Orangeburg Massacre yesterday. On the 54th anniversary, the 3 men were shot and killed. They were honored with a permanent statue. It was created by artist Tulupe Falani, chair of the Visual and Performing Arts at South Carolina State University. The school's interim president, Alexander Conyers, says the work and memories of Henry Smith, Samuel Hammond, and Delano Middleton are important to highlight to inspire more students toward advocacy. And get ready to get caught up in the rapture. Anita Baker announced she is going back on the road. The 64-year-old legendary singer took to social media on her birthday yesterday, announcing her run at the Venetian Hotel in Vegas. Now, kids or not, babysitter or not, I'm going to be there, kids in tow. An earlier farewell concert was canceled about 2 years ago. This one is set to launch in May. SCDHEC has your most up-to-date list of times, dates, and locations for COVID testing in and around South Carolina. Visit scdhec.gov for more information. Plus, you can get your free 3 COVID tests. You can mail covidtest.gov. Now, it started on January 19th, I think. I applied January 19th, and I got an email today, which was only 2 weeks, I guess, 2 weeks saying that my COVID tests are on the way. So they should be here very, very soon. So they're turning those around really quickly. Several areas in and around South Carolina for you to get your COVID vaccine, and it's free. Columbia Mall in Columbia has a testing site located 7 days a week, open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. COVID vaccines for veterans are also being handled at the VA. If you are a vet, please stop by the VA for more information or call them. You can see that information on the screen. Several retail outlets are also offering COVID vaccines, including Kroger pharmacies, also CVS, including the CVSs that are located in Target stores, and Walgreens not only are offering the COVID vaccines, they are also offering free N95 masks. Brooklyn Baptist Church has their vaccine clinic that's also open 7 days a week. You can see that information on the screen. And if you are having a challenge getting a ride to get your COVID vaccination, don't miss your shot. You can not only get a free ride on the Comet to get your COVID vaccine, but you can also get your COVID vaccine at the Comet bus station. Online registration is available at Get Set Up. If you are having some challenges making your COVID vaccination, you can contact Get Set Up and they will help you get set up. Also, if you are having some problems with if you lost a loved one due to COVID, FEMA is continuing their funeral reimbursement. You can see that information on the screen also. The South Carolina Bar Association and SC Legal Services has a toll-free number and website for rental and mortgage help. Also, financial assistance is offered through Lexington County, SC Housing and Dominion Energy have rental and utility assistance. SC Housing additionally has a frontline workers home buying program. And if you or someone you know is having a challenge coping with COVID, the South Carolina Department of Mental Health has launched SC Hopes. It is a 24-hour assistance line to get some help coping with COVID. Now, we talked about it being Heart Health Month. Prisma Health has a series of webinars that they have launched this month. You can see those dates and those topics on the screen. You can download or contact Prisma Health for more information. And Palmetto AIDS Life Support is having a series of HIV/AIDS testing dates. They have one at Allen University and also one at Palmetto AIDS Life Support. Again, that information is on the screen, and you can check that out. National Black HIV Awareness Day. That's happening. I was looking at the flyer. That's happening coming up in just a couple of days. Did I miss it? No, February 8th. That's yesterday. That was yesterday, Charity. We missed that one. I think there's another one coming up also. Listen, you're watching Coping with COVID. Wellness Wednesday is brought to you by In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina. We are actually streaming live on the In It Together Facebook page. Go over there, hit like and share and follow. And not only check it out because they've got so many great resources available for diabetes awareness programs, diabetes prevention programs, also healthy tips for your mental, physical, and emotional health. But just go over there, check it out. Again, hit like and share and follow. Now, we're also streaming on the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook. That's the home of Coping with COVID. We ask that you also go over there and like and share and follow. Not only will you be able to get notifications as to when to watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 2 p.m., but you can also get your COVID-related updates. We're also streaming live on YouTube. You can watch previous versions of Coping with COVID on the YouTube channel, okay? We're also streaming live and have a presence on Instagram and on Twitter. It's Heart Health Month, and while many are getting ready to care for their figurative heart with candy and flowers and date nights, oh my, we are focusing on your actual physical health. Crystal Kirkland, Executive Director with the American Heart Association, joins us along with Dr. Nicole Edwards. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you.
Hey there, thanks for having us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Crystal, let me start with you. We know about Wear Red Day. Tell us a little bit about that initiative for the American Heart Association.
The big initiative came as a way to bring awareness to the cause. I think a lot of people still think about it being a man's disease, and we really want everyone to be aware of the risk factors and where they stand and what they can do to improve their, heart health and overall wellness in general, but really all about promoting awareness for the campaign and your heart health.
Right. Why is it important to focus on heart health specifically for women?
It's the number one killer of women, 1 in 3, which is just one too many. There's so many things, and I like to use the whole analogy of the whole body. You can't have a healthy body if you don't have a healthy heart, but it all works together, and it needs to work together well. So we need to do our exercise. We need to eat well. There's so many things that you can do to really kind of take back your health. And really, Heart Health Month is a time we've been saying recently, reclaim your rhythm. The last couple of years with COVID, we've all kind of gotten out of sync, possibly with going to the doctor, with exercise, with eating. And now we're saying reclaim your rhythm. Let's find a new healthy version of you and some new healthy habits to kind of kick off the year.
Yeah, we're going to check out your website in just a minute and see about that Reclaiming Your Rhythm initiative and your initiatives for Black History Month. I was very impressed with all of the great things you guys have going on. But tell us about some of the Wear Red Day activities and if there are still any that folks can take part of.
So we've got several different ones. I know Prisma, Lexington Medical, several different ones do their own within the community. We do our big Go Red luncheon actually in April, and that is coming up April 26th. So we prolong Heart Month just a little bit to be able to celebrate in April. But there's a lot of different ways. I mean, we've got right now called a Women of Impact, and it's all a campaign really. Again, individual women are going out and getting their friends and your coworkers involved and finding out what they're doing, and they're doing individual things together. So there's a lot of different options, and you'll find a lot of this information on our website.
Right. We're looking at the website now, the American Heart Association website. And like I said, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Dr. Cole, I want to get you in here. Can you tell me what the numbers are for women and men with heart problems? Because as Crystal said, it's the number one killer of women.
It is. It is the number one killer. So we do know that at least 1 in 16 women above the age of 20 have heart disease, some form of heart disease. And there's different forms of heart disease, and we'll probably talk about that more in a little bit. But some form of heart disease. So it's 1 in 16 women. Like, that is a huge number, right? And so number wise, let's see, in the United States, it's killing basically 1 in every 5 female deaths is because of heart disease. 1 in 5. So how many people do we have on the show today?
Right.
So the likelihood of one of us having some sort of cardiovascular related death when that happens is high. Wow. So that's why there's this big push to really improve our heart disease. And really, it's all about knowledge. A lot of people don't know, like, what are the things that heart disease entails. I'm like, oh, well, I have high blood pressure. I didn't know that was considered heart disease. It is. It absolutely is. So when you know better, you do better. And so if we can get more the word out and get people understanding what's going on, then maybe we can lower these numbers. But the numbers are baffling.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the thing about hypertension, because that's what I want to ask. What types of heart issues are there? Because I think people think about heart attack and maybe stroke, but they're not really, women, men, people in general are not really conscientious about what types of heart challenges, issues, diseases there are and how that impacts us.
Right. So I'm glad you said stroke, because a lot of people don't think of stroke as a heart disease. I mean, stroke happens in your brain, so that's not a heart disease. Actually, it's based in your heart. So hypertension is probably the biggest one, and we call that one the silent killer, because a lot of times you don't get symptoms, you don't know your blood pressure is high. This is where prevention is key. This is where you need to be going to your doctor regularly. You need to be having your blood pressure checked, because usually by the time you get symptoms of the high blood pressure, it's way too late. But also, heart attacks is another one, a big one. Heart failure is another big one. And there's different types of heart failure, but this is a big one. There are arrhythmias, or where your heart is beating abnormally. And there's all kinds of different arrhythmias. And then, like you said, stroke. So we know about heart attacks, which is a blood clot to the vessels in your heart, but a blood clot to the vessels in your brain actually starts in the heart, and then that blood clot releases and goes to your brain, and that's what causes the stroke. And that's why a stroke is also considered heart disease.
Wow. Dario Smith says, good information. He has 2 daughters. Hey, Dario, thank you so much for joining us. We are talking about Heart Health Month. And yes, it's Valentine's Day, 5 days before Valentine's Day. But in order to really enjoy your figurative heart, you've got to take care of your physical heart. Crystal Kirkland joins us. She's Executive Director of the American Heart Association and board certified general practitioner. Dr. Nicole Edwards joins us also. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. I want to remind you also to please post and share this information out. Like Dario said, he has 2 daughters. We, a lot of us are women. We have a big female following. And I know we know someone that needs to be aware of this information. Also want to remind you that scrolling at the bottom of the screen, all of the information that I mentioned, the PSAs about the COVID testing, all the types of financial resources, all of that information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So please post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses. We're talking about Heart Health Month today. And Dr. Nicole, I want to go back to you to talk about some of the warning signs. What should we be thinking about, looking at, be conscientious about as women?
Well, let's talk about, I'm going to say that as women, basically it's the things that we ignore. So the things that, because we have so much on us as women, we're working, we're wives, we're mothers, we're sometimes business owners, we're in school, we're trying to handle everything. And so a lot of times we will just kind of put stuff to the wayside or to the side for us. But things you should be looking for, of course, we know the classic symptoms: crushing chest pain on the left side, shortness of breath, dizziness, sweating. That's signs that you could be having a heart attack. But other things that you need to be looking for, what you would call a migraine. If you're having all these migraines all the time, you got to find out what's going on. Could that be your blood pressure being elevated? Also, remember, women don't always get the left-sided crushing chest pain. Sometimes we get this little bit of pressure or something funny going on the right side of our chest. Women also can get indigestion right underneath your breastbone, like this indigestion that just won't go away. Like you're taking all the over-the-counter stuff and it just won't go away because remember your heart sits right on top of your stomach. And so sometimes what you think is your stomach bothering you is actually maybe irritation from your heart bothering you.
Wow.
If you're having dizziness, if you're having blurred vision, if you're having swelling, and you know, ladies, we all know we don't want swollen ankles and swollen ankles, swollen feet and hands. But if you are noticing a lot of swelling, that could be signs that you're having something going on with your heart. Maybe the supply or the blood supply is not filling the heart. We'll talk about it in a minute, I'm sure. A lot of people talk about that top number on your blood pressure, but they don't worry about the bottom number. That bottom number, ladies, if you're having swelling in your ankles, swelling in your hands and feet, that bottom number, that diastolic number might be a little bit too high and causing some of that swelling around in your ankles. And we can get rid of that by addressing your heart disease.
Yeah, Dr. Nicole Edwards joins us. We're talking about Heart Health Month. Crystal Kirkland also joins us. Crystal is Executive Director of the American Heart Association. And Nicole, we're going to come back to you in just a minute because I want to talk about some of the other risk factors. And then, of course, the pre-existing conditions that also play into, you know, what we have going on. But Crystal, I want to ask about the other types of advocacy that the American Heart Association does around heart health disease and heart health.
Thank you. I got to start with Dr. Edwards. That is the best example or description of a stroke that I've ever heard. It is so complicated. I have no clinical background, so I love that you were able to put that in layman's terms that I understood. And that whole description, you did a great job of it. I need to get that offline so I can write it down so I can repeat back what you said, but you did a great job of that. As Dr. Edwards said, there's so many things that as women that we need to take into consideration. And on our side, there's a lot of advocacy efforts. Like we've got people who are working for tobacco reform right now, who we want to make sure that teens are not vaping. The numbers continue to rise with that. I heard this scary statistic not very long ago, and it was talking about the year that I graduated high school, which was a long time ago, like 98. It was,
oh my God, okay.
1 in 4 kids were smoking. Well, all of my team is young, so 98 to them, we all rode dinosaurs. But it was 1 in 4 kids were smoking cigarettes. And we got that number down to like 1 in 25 over the last 20, 30 years. And unfortunately, e-cigarettes took that all away, and we're back to where we were before. And to me, it's almost more scary because they're so unknown. It's so much easier to hide and conceal. I see all the time, they're like, would you recognize this? Nope, I would have no idea what that is. And so there's a lot of that on the back end of things. We work with employers to be able to help them encourage their employees to get healthy. We've got a lot of resources on our website about diet and exercise. And we will always say, start with a visit to your doctor to get a starting point to do all of that. But what I find that we're the best resources, if you find out you have high blood pressure, if you find out you need to lose weight, Google any one of those things, and it's about 6 million things that you're going to pull up, and it's sometimes very conflicting data. Like, am I supposed to eat carbs? Am I not supposed to eat carbs? What's a trusted resource that you can get information from to be able to have a balanced diet, to be able to exercise? So that's kind of some of the pieces that, we do on the back end of things that you may not always see. But we're also most recently really working within the community to do some things there, not just events. We're working with some of our federally qualified health centers with blood pressure initiatives. There's a lot of those sort of things. We've worked in the area of nutrition security recently. We believe everyone should have food, but we also want them to have access to healthy food. So there's a lot of those things that I think on the back end that maybe people don't automatically think about when they think about the Heart Association, but do contribute to heart health.
Right. In It Together, SC and the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor, and we're talking with the folks from the American Heart Association, Crystal Kirkland, and also Dr. Nicole Edwards about Heart Health Month. We're looking at the American Heart Association website right here. And I mean, there are so many great resources. I see, Crystal, you're saying pump up the jams, dance, stay and beat with your blood pressure. Keep the beat, learn hands-on CPR. I love that. And stay connected with the American Heart Association. What are some things that people can do to help you help us, help you help everyone else?
I think there's so many. I mean, some of that is as simple as signing up to be an advocate to let our legislators know what's important to you so your voice can be heard. Some of that is giving us a call, and maybe you're a business owner and you want to donate an item to our heart ball auction. Maybe that's showing up to volunteer to help with the heart walk. I think there's so many different things. And one of the great thing about all of us is we're also different. So our talents are different. But if you
Yeah.
want to get involved and you want to, support your local organization, Heart Association, give us a call and let's find a great fit for you.
Right. We're going to talk with two of the women who are actually heart survivors and advocating for the American Heart Association. But Dr. Nicole, I want to bring you back in here because I want to talk about people with pre-existing conditions. I mean, this show is sponsored by the Diabetes Action Council and In It Together SC. And we talk a lot on this show about diabetes, high blood pressure, those pre-existing conditions. How does that affect your heart health?
Absolutely. So we know that with your heart disease and with heart health, there are risk factors that you can't control, things like your genetics, your age, your race. But the things that you can control, including the pre-existing conditions, those are the things that we can actively take a part of. Those are the things that we can control. So smoking is a big one, and vaping as well. Diabetes, we do know that when you have high blood sugars and even elevated or what they call pre-diabetes, either you have it or you're not. That's like pre-pregnant. Either you are or you're not, right? So, but if you have pre-diabetes or if you have diabetes, when you have, think about it, when you have thickened blood, the blood is not moving as quickly through the blood vessels, and then you can get more clots and you can get, it's harder to push that blood out. And when it's harder to push the blood out, your heart has to work harder. When it has to work harder, elevate your blood pressure, and then it tires the heart out. You are more prone to getting heart disease. So we got to keep a control on your blood sugars. So your diabetes, making sure that your A1C is down below 7, really below 6.5 would be apropos. Even things like pre-existing conditions, high cholesterol. So making sure that we're eating the healthier foods, okay? Things like being overweight or being obese. Those are things that we can control. You can get up and you can move. You don't have to join a gym. You can just go take a walk around your block. Get your heart rate up and stop using excuses. If you're watching TV, get up and move while you're watching TV. So these are the things that you can do without making it cost a lot of money, without, having to put a lot of time and effort in, but you can work on those risk factors that we can control.
Yeah, I love that you say that, Nicole, because and you don't have to be overweight. Here's the thing. I think women, we think if we are not overweight, if we can still get into a size 4, 6, 8, maybe even a 10, we are okay. But I mean, I am one that I'm a testament to both of my parents and my grandparents died because of heart attacks very early. And I'm not overweight, but I've got it in my family line, So, and I've said this on this show before, I took the initiative to taking 30 minutes out of my morning after I drop off the kids, 30 minutes to walk. I'm walking 30 minutes at least 5 days a week. Not only do I feel better, and it just helps for me to clear my head. Those are little things, like you said, that we can do. When we go into the mall or to the grocery store, park a little further and walk up. Those are little things we can do. And we have just got to be so much more conscientious about doing what's best for us so that we can have a better life and stop, making excuses. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday. Dr. Nicole Edwards joins us, also Crystal Kirkland. She is Executive Director of the American Heart Association. We talked a little bit about, and Crystal's website, the American Heart Association website, had some great information about what to do. As we said, we mentioned about walking and dancing and doing things like that. What are some other things that we can do today to just make sure we are advocating for ourselves, making sure that we're okay? Just some simple things that people can do. Nicole?
Well, sure. So 2 big things that jump out at me. Number 1, take the time for yourself, because self-care is not selfish. What I tell my patients all the time, and go see a doctor. Okay. Go see a doctor somewhere at least once a year. twice a year even would be good too, but get a screening. Make sure that they're checking your cholesterol, checking your sugar, checking your kidneys, checking, your blood pressure, checking. So go get a screening. That is huge. And also, well, okay, I said two things. That's going to be three. Number two, because this is coping with COVID, we do have to bring that in as well. We do know that COVID actually increases the risk of heart disease. COVID can put a strain on your heart. So even if you thought you just had mild symptoms, it was nothing. We are seeing that COVID itself increases the heart disease. And so, because it's straining your heart. So making sure that you're doing all the things to avoid COVID if you do. And if you've had COVID, please make sure that you're going and seeing your doctor and making sure that you don't have any long-lasting symptoms on your heart. And the third thing I would say to women is control your stress levels, because we do know that stress, you can work yourself to death. You can stress yourself to death. You can die of a broken heart. These are the things, especially as women, because we take all these things in and we're holding all these things in, and we're not sometimes having an outlet to let it out because we're taking care of everybody else. We forget to take care of ourselves. So making sure that you are not overly stressed. And if you are, deal with it. Go and see a therapist. Go and find a way to take a walk. Go and talk with your doctor. Get on some sort of supplement or some sort of vitamin, some sort of medication if needed. And let's really address stress, because we know that stress increases that cortisol. Cortisol can put higher blood pressure, higher heart rates, faster heart rates, and it strains the heart. And so we want to make sure that you are dealing with your stress.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about your website, Nicole, before we let you and Crystal go. You have some resources also on your website. Tell us about some of your supplements that you have launched, your natural supplements.
Absolutely. So I have a natural supplement line. It's called Abundantly Natural. You can see that on my website, Dr. Nicole D.O. So there's one of my favorite ones for Heart Health Month is Heart Support right there. And Heart Support has some things like CoQ10 and some L-theanine, some natural supplements to help with your blood pressure, help with the way your blood flows. And it's all natural. I always say, do still check with your doctor before you take anything. I am also, I do a show called Talk with the Doc on Sundays, but I have been promoting, if you use coupon code HEART, HEART, for the entire month of February, you get 25% off of all of my heart supplements and all of my inflammation supplements. So if you want to look at that heart support, use the coupon code HEART and you can knock off 25% for the month of February.
Awesome. Dr. Nicole Edwards, thank you so much for joining us. Crystal, I want both of you to rejoin us. We're going to bring our heart health survivors, Monica Hoover and Kimberly Suber, in after the break. And then, Crystal, I definitely want to talk to you about the American Heart Association's Black History Month initiatives and talk more about some additional resources. I read something, ladies, about broken heart syndrome this week. So I'm like, really? Another thing? So I want to talk about that when we come back. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Monica Hoover and Kimberly Suber. They'll share their stories, challenges, and triumphs. That's coming up next on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Aiken Cockrum. I was Miss America in 1994. As a result of that, I had to learn at a very early age that it's important to take care of my health, to get enough rest, to eat a balanced diet, and to get exercise. Those are principles that I still live by today. Take a moment to visit inittogethersc.org to take an online test to find out if you're at risk of prediabetes and how to join a diabetes prevention program that takes the guesswork out of losing weight, eating better, and being more active. You can learn new ways to stay healthy and sustain those changes over time. When you join, you'll get support from a trained lifestyle coach to help you set and achieve realistic goals. Go to inittogethersc.org. Brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Visit Davis Tax Service today, 803-419-1001.
Thank you so much again for joining us. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. Please go to the In It Together Facebook page. We are streaming live there. They've got so many great resources, tips and recipes and all kind of great stuff. Also, information on joining a diabetes prevention program. Check them out, like, share, and follow on Facebook. We're also streaming live on the Tailor Made production page on Facebook. That's the home of Coping with COVID. Please go over there again and hit like and share and follow. Not only will you be able to watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but first Monday with comedian George Wallace, you'll also be able to get all of your COVID related updates. We're streaming live on the YouTube channel. Also, you can see past shows there. And then, of course, check out our content on Facebook, not Facebook, but Instagram, and also on Twitter. Hey, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, we've got so many great resources, COVID vaccination and testing sites throughout South Carolina and throughout the nation. Also, other resources as far as financial resources, if you're having some challenges paying your rent, your mortgage, or your utilities, and more information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So please check it out. And don't forget to post and share so we can get the message to the masses. Listen, today we are talking about heart health 5 days before Valentine's Day. We're focusing on your physical, actual heart as we commemorate Heart Health Month. In the last segment, rewind if you get a chance. If you just joining us, Dr. Nicole Edwards and American Heart Association Executive Director Crystal Kirkland, hit the replay button because they gave us some great information on how to recognize and what to do about your heart and all of the great resources that AHA has, American Heart Association, and what to look for and how you can help yourself. Right now, heart survivors Kimberly Suver and Monica Hoover join us to share their experiences. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Kim, I know you've got to leave us early. So I do want to get you in on the conversation. First, I want to find out how you both learned that you had a heart condition.
Well, for me, it was just by accident. I just felt bad one day. I always say that I'm definitely my heart issue was definitely a silent killer. I mean, I was going on with life as if nothing was happening, and then all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. And going from that to a triple bypass, all in a couple days. That's how fast it happened.
So you just went along your day, and then you started feeling bad, and then you
started feeling bad. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. The last part.
I said, and then what? What happened? You weren't feeling bad, and then you went to the hospital.
Yeah, I went to the doctor, and my doctor, and that's why I tell women to advocate for themselves. Because when I went to my doctor, he stated that it was anxiety. It's a stress thing. You're just going through stress right now. And I said, no, I'm not going through stress. I know my body. My body is telling me something is wrong. So I had to go back and forth with him and just kind of advocate for myself. And finally, he signed me with my cardiologist. He referred me out to have my stress test. Once I had my stress test the next day, she decided that we need to admit you and do a heart cath. So it was another day I had to wait. So after I had my heart cath, that's when they discovered that I had three of my arteries were clogged. So my
Oh my
main artery
God.
was 100%,
Wow.
and my other two arteries were 75%. And I was only 39. So I'm just looking like, no, this cannot be happening. I have a cruise to go on. I have so many things I need to do. I, I have my boys, just a lot that I have to do. But, just in hindsight, when we talk about symptoms, I had symptoms before then and just kind of dismissed it. I was
Really?
overweight, which is one thing. I knew I dealt with anxiety. But come to find out, it wasn't the anxiety. I was having pains in my back, and I just thought it was because I was overweight. That's where it was coming
Mhm.
from. So I had that, and at night sometimes I had to try to catch my breath at night, and I had the headaches, and I just thought it was just coming from me just doing so much,
Yeah.
as a superwoman.
And
But it
many
was,
of us are, Kimberly. Many of us
yeah.
are. Monica, I'm going to
Mhm.
get you in on the conversation because I love my Kimberly that you said you had to advocate for yourself, and we've got to be
Mhm.
conscientious about when we feel good and when we don't feel good, and how our bodies feel at different times. You know if you're off. You know if you're off.
Mhm.
So sometimes, unfortunately, you got to tell a doctor, "Hey, I know my body better than you know my body." What happened
Mhm.
with you, Monica?
So much like Kimberly, I was kind of stopped in my tracks, kind of. I actually didn't have heart disease. I'm sure, probably like she said, throughout the years, we all take on so much as women. I probably had symptoms that I just ignored, but I learned at 44 that I actually had a congenital heart defect that I had had from birth, and
Wow.
yeah, I was at risk of dropping. It was, I think, 99% of the time there are no symptoms and they find it on an autopsy after you've passed away. And I was at my daughter's soccer game, kind of taking everything on, pushing through like a lot of us women do.
Mhm.
I'd been traveling for 2 weeks, just, between games, moving my daughter home from college at the end of her year, just kind of just taking it all on. And I felt some discomfort in my chest, kind of bent over and immediately dismissed the symptom. I thought, gosh, I
Wow.
just moved my child out of her dorm, moved her, she was 20 hours from home going to college. We just, made a 20-hour drive. I dismissed every bit of it and just thought, gosh, I just don't feel good. I think I'm tired. I dismissed it myself. I didn't listen to my body.
Right.
Um, and I didn't think, in my family, there is no history of heart
And
disease.
I was going to ask that about family
Right.
history. And so none in yours. Any in yours, Kim?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there is a history, but I think we walk around and just think that it's not going to happen to me.
Right.
It's not going to happen to me, and you think you're invincible. And now that I know that it is a
That you're
genetic
not
thing,
invincible?
that I'm not invincible. Um,
Right.
I've made a lot of awareness, with my family and had them, and a lot of them have been tested, and they had to receive stents. So now it's like a wake up call in my family that there is an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, Monica, keep going. You said
No,
that.
that's fine. When she just said the awareness, I think, I mean, I was completely oblivious, 4 years ago, that my number one risk, as a woman, and especially a woman in my mid 40s, was, of heart disease or, just a cardiac event. So, I've been become an advocate to just get the
Yeah.
word out there to really, as women, again, I think that Dr. Nicole touched on that we take on so much
Yeah, we
and we take care of everybody else and not ourselves first. And so just allowing a second to hear our bodies, to trust our bodies, to advocate for ourselves, so that we can still be here, into our 50s, 60s, later on and still, fighting good fight, much like Kimberly. I went into the emergency room. I passed the stress test. I had been prior to this, I had actually even competed in a bodybuilding show. So I had no reason to believe
Right,
that there was
right.
any, no risk factor. The last
And
thing
and
I
you
thought
weren't
was my heart.
overweight, right, Monica? You weren't overweight. Yeah.
No, ma'am. No.
Yeah.
And so, so that, I think I want to advocate for it doesn't matter what kind of physical shape you're
That's
in,
right.
your heart can still, be a factor regardless of that. So, because I do think sometimes, everyone says, oh, well, were you overweight? Were there
Yes.
symptoms? Were there things? yes, that can be true, but then also don't discount, listening to your body otherwise, because, it could have been missed. If I would have gone home that day, actually kind of argued with my husband. I didn't want to go to the hospital. I was tired. I wanted to go home. And I passed the stress test, and then they did the cardiac cath, and within 3 days I had open heart surgery to
Wow.
repair. So I'm still here today. I've got 3 daughters. So I'm very much an advocate for making us strong women. I really wanted to get involved, go red, speak out as much as I can. I just recently went to my daughter's basketball practice and asked the coach, "Hey, they're high school girls. Can I share my story a little bit?"
Yeah.
And then brought in the boys basketball team and said, you have mothers, you have aunts, you have grandmothers, as young men, please be there for them. Please advocate for their health. Be and kind of, beware of the stress and things you're putting on them. But, just awareness. That's the
Don't
biggest
stress your
thing.
mama out. Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
Yes.
Yeah. But Monica, you make a good point, because we see and read almost weekly where a young person involved in athletics has just fallen out
Right.
because of a heart situation. So it is important for us to tell our young people, young boys and young girls, it doesn't matter. Like you said, you can be in the best health. You could be young. You could be old. You could be black, white, green, purple. We've got to be more conscientious about, making sure that from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, you're okay. And as women, you're right, ladies, I tell you, and I don't have to, I'm preaching to the choir here. We do so much for so many, and then forget or don't take time. And I'm talking to myself too, to take care of us. But we've got to think, okay, so if what happens to us, who's going to take care of all those people we trying to take care of?
Sometimes I think that we don't have much left after we've taken care of everybody else. We don't have the energy left to take care of ourselves.
You're right, Monica. That's absolutely right. But you know what? Like I think Dr. Nicole said, it's not selfish to take time for yourself. You've got to be conscientious and take care of yourself.
And Trey, one thing I want to say is that I learned that no is a complete sentence.
Yes, girl.
It's a complete sentence. And I don't owe you an explanation for anything. I don't owe you why I don't want to do it. I'm selfish now. I'm a little bit more selfish, and learning to be at peace. That's where that self-care comes in at, and learning that gratitude. I think is very important. Things that I know in our community, in the Black community, we don't. Therapy is taboo. I'm definitely invested in therapy now. Eating healthy
Right.
food
You
is
can
something
love
that
Jesus and love a therapist too. You can do both.
You can do both. And in my family, food is a thing that always brought us together, but was
It
also
does.
killing
Yeah.
us. And one thing I did was take control of my health, and that was something I didn't know, that, there was a good and a bad cholesterol level. No one ever taught me any of those things.
Right.
We just knew that someone
Right.
died of a heart attack, and that was it. We just moved on from it, but not knowing that it was genetics.
Yeah. Kimberly Suber and Monica Hoover join us. They are heart health survivors. I think it's very interesting that both of you are realtors.
Oh gosh, I didn't think I realized that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the correlation. It has anything to do with heart health, but before we bring Dr. Nicole and Crystal back in, I want to ask, what have you guys done differently, and how has your heart situation changed your life?
So for me, it changed. It was really, when Kimberly was speaking about therapy, things like that, from the open heart surgery to, changing your physical appearance, changing the things that I'm capable of doing. For quite a few years, it took me a while to figure out what I could do to get back in shape, or want to be back in shape. I'm wearing the glasses as a side effect. Had some vision. I actually had a stroke,
Wow.
Just as a side effect. And, I blew that symptom off. I had taken some pictures for a real estate business card. And I thought, gosh, my smile really looks kind of off. I don't like those pictures. Can I take them again? And you kind of just looked at them a little bit closer. I'm like, wow, why is the side of my mouth is drooping down a little bit? And, I went in and talked to my doctor, and then, touching on Kimberly, I said, I'm not sure what's going on. And my doctor, when I asked for the appointment, she said, I really expected to come in and, didn't think that you would have had a stroke, from this. And so it was kind of like they call like a little palsy on the side of the face. And
Yeah.
so I kind of avoided smiling a little bit for a while because I didn't like that I accentuated those,
Yeah.
those kind of things. I'm accepting that, accepting the changes in my limitations, embracing those, and, finding ways to still, be involved with my family and my life and what my life looks like now and who I am. And then, kind of looking forward and saying, how can I get that message out to other women? I thought I was invincible. I thought, gosh, I've gone to cardiac rehab and they're like, what are you doing here? You're so young. What are you doing here? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, exactly. What am I doing here? But the truth of the matter is, in our mid 30s and 40s, we are the highest risk group. And that's just stunning to me. Every time I mention that to somebody else, it's eye opening because I think everyone is blind to that right now. And so I think that that's the biggest thing I can give back. The biggest way I want to make a change is just continue talking about it.
Yeah. Kimberly, you want to jump into this? What have you done
Yes,
differently and how has it helped change your life?
I think one thing that has changed my life was the American Heart Association. They made me feel special after becoming their 2016 spokeswoman for the Midlands, and just being able to go out and do outreach was a big thing. And it was dear to my heart just to kind of see the faces when I walked in. It was like, no, not you, not you. But and taking control of my health. I am now 70 pounds lighter from that heart
Congratulations.
episode. Thank
Yeah.
you. And I wear my scar as a badge of honor because it's always
Yeah.
a conversational piece, and that's one thing I like about it. That when people say what happened, it's an opportunity to
Right.
bring some awareness, and I
Yes.
enjoy that. I enjoy that, and I enjoy seeing my family take it seriously now. So
Yeah.
those are some of the things that have changed, and just taking time out for me. There's nothing like I'll schedule a flight before I take date. Before I tell my boss I'm taking days off. So I
Yeah.
am notorious for that. I'm like, I got to go. I got to take care of me.
Yeah. Kimberly, I know you've got to leave, so if you need to do some work, it's okay. Monica
Yeah.
Hoover also joined us. We're going to bring Dr. Nicole back in, and also Crystal Kirkland with the American Heart Association. Nicole, what is this broken heart syndrome? You can have a real broken heart. I mean, really? Nicole, is she still there? Oh, I think she's frozen. All right. So, Crystal, tell us about the initiative that American Heart Association has for Black History Month.
So we had a couple great ones that have passed. We had one February 4th and then February 5th. They were streaming live on YouTube. Still, some of those I think you can still probably watch on YouTube if you go back on. But really, the whole initiative is really, again, raising awareness. We talked about women having an increased risk factor, but unfortunately, African Americans have a much higher risk factor. So if you're a woman, you're more likely to die of heart disease. If you're a Black woman, you're far more likely to die of heart disease. We want people to know that, and we want people to be able to make those changes and have every opportunity to live a long, healthier life. But we also have, because Reclaim Your Rhythm, we have some Binge Watching Better streaming series that has, I'm reading it, it's like yoga, workout, cardio, dance parties, and more. All of that is on YouTube. So you can check it out and, reclaim your rhythm. And one of those is a special series devoted to Black History Month with some very recognizable Black artists on there. So.
Yeah, that is so great. We are looking at your website now that talks about Black History Month and Reclaim Your Rhythm. And if you want more information, go to the American Heart Association. Daniel Lake says, ladies, thank you so very much for sharing your stories. You've encouraged me to increase my heart awareness. You're ambassadors for heart health. Thank you, Danielle, so much for watching and for being conscientious about what's going on in your heart health. Nicole is back up. Before we leave, Nicole, I want to ask you about this broken heart syndrome. What in the world?
It's a real thing. Remember, I was talking about the increased stress and what stress can do to your heart. And we all know that there's good stressors and there's bad stressors. Your kids are getting married. Okay, that's a good stress. You got a new job. It's a good stress. But too much stress can actually impact the heart. I told you about when we have too much of the bad stress, a lot of times we get, either stress, we get that increase of that cortisol. And that cortisol Like I said, it increases your heart rate, it increases your blood pressure, it causes cortisol is what we used back in the day when there was fight or flight. If you're running from the saber-toothed tiger and you suddenly needed to run away, right? But also that sometimes dealing with that fear and that stress and that increased release of that stress hormone, it can actually clog your heart and it can actually cause heart attacks. And so those people who they hear the bad news and then suddenly they grab their heart and then they have the heart attack or they drop dead. It's a real thing.
Wow.
So ladies, especially, control your stress levels. I mean, we can't control everything that comes in, but sometimes we just have to control how we react to things. But by having a baseline of a healthy heart, if we do get that devastating news or we do get that increased stress load, our hearts are not as stressed. And so they don't take on quite as much of a load. So we really need to work on having a good baseline to start with, because broken heart syndrome or that increased stress, that is real talk. That is real talk.
Yeah. And I think you talk about that because that could be a love thing, but it could also be someone in your family that has passed away. And I think we see, and particularly in the midst of COVID-19, 20, 21, and 22, that people are just dropping off of the face of the earth. And it's an effect. It's having an effect on us. I was just talking to a girlfriend just the other day, and she just texted. We were in a girlfriend text, and she said, "Can anybody talk to me right now?" And I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" And I told her, I said, "Give me 20 minutes." But then I said, "No, let me call you right now." And she, over the weekend, had found out back to back 4 people that she knew and cared for had passed away. And she said she kept going all weekend. And then it just hit her. She just could not take it another minute. So we sat and we talked and we laughed, and a couple of our other girlfriends called her. And those are things, particularly I think with COVID, our mental health has got to become more, we got to become more conscientious. I think Kent mentioned in communities of color that therapy is taboo, but we need to do whatever we can do to take care of us mentally, physically, emotionally, because it all does affect us physically. It all affects us physically.
Absolutely. And like Kim was also talking about, we a lot of times show our love through food or through cooking for people, but make sure that, you're cooking more on the healthier side of things, making sure that you're picking the healthy options, or even things like, let's all get out and work in the garden or go to the community garden and work and build, grow us some healthier vegetable options that we can eat. But then we're also getting the exercise at the same time. So we just got to make better choices in general that puts us first. And it's okay to put yourself first. Doctor's orders, put yourself first.
It is okay to put yourself first. You heard it from the doctor. Before we leave, ladies, I just want to go around and give any advice or tips for women that you can as we, talk about our heart health. And this Valentine's Day, how we can and should just love on ourselves first. And I'll start with you, Monica.
I think you summed it up perfectly. Love on yourselves first, give to yourself before you give to anybody else. Because, if you're pouring from an empty glass, you don't have a lot left to give. And so I think that's the most important thing, love on yourself first, so that you can, fill up everybody else from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Crystal?
Similar message. I heard the best analogy was when you're on a plane, they tell you to put on your mask first before you do others, because if you're out of oxygen, you can't help those beside you. So you have to take care of yourself so you can take care of your family and be there for them when you need them. Also, this Valentine's Day, spend some quality time. It doesn't have to be chocolates. Go for a walk, which is great for your physical health, great for your mental health, great for stress and anxiety, and ultimately good for your heart health. So minutes to your life. Dr. Edwards, you probably know the stat. How many minutes of exercise gives me more minutes of life? So
absolutely. 30 minutes of exercise 5 days a week, if you can. And that's going to 30 minutes. That's all you need. 30 minutes. And it doesn't have to be all 30 minutes all at once. You can do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. But 30 minutes of exercise 5 days a week increases your cardiovascular supply. My one thing, Trey, is to be kind to yourself. My sister says that all the time. She's a therapist, but she says it all the time. Be kind to yourself and give yourself some grace. We are so hard on ourselves as women. We are our own worst critics. We kick ourselves all the time, but be kind to yourself, give yourself some grace, and do something for for you because you deserve it. You deserve it.
Absolutely. I love that, ladies. And as we celebrate Valentine's Day, again, love on yourself first. If you don't have a husband or a wife or a boo or whatever, or children, you got you and you are enough and you are worth it. Maybe you could eat a little tiny piece of candy, I guess, and then
dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is actually good for your heart.
Yeah.
That is my favorite.
Red wine.
That's what they say. And then
within reason. Within reason.
Dr. Nicole Edwards, thank you so much. Don't forget, tell people what your website is and what the special is on the website, please, before we go.
Absolutely. My website is Dr. Nicole D.O. That's DRNICOLEDO. And if you use the coupon code HEART, HEART, for the month of February, you will get 25% off of all cardiovascular and anti-inflammatory supplements.
Awesome. We see the information on the screen. And Crystal, of course, with the American Heart Association, please don't forget to log on to their website, donate, and help them help you and everyone else as they advocate for heart health. And you said the Heart Ball is coming up when, Crystal?
Heart Ball is April 1st. Our Heart Walk is March 28th. And then our Go Red for Women luncheon is, Heart Walk is March 26th. Heart Ball is April 1st. And our Go Red for Women is April 29th.
Awesome. And then Monica Hoover, thank you so much, ladies, so much for joining us today. We appreciate you, love you. Thank you for all that you do in our community, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So much. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wellness Wednesday. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday. Listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please email booking@copingwithtretailor.com. Booking@copingwithtretailor.com. The information should be scrolling at the bottom of your screen. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwithtretailor@gmail.com. copingwithtretailor@gmail.com. That information is also scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council, SCDHEC. Also, Javis Tax Service, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Palmetto Media Connections, Agape Counseling and Training Services, Black Pages, Black Expo, the Comet Bus Systems, Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, and the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Attorney Byron Gibson, who will be with us tomorrow for No Justice, No Peace. Also coming up Friday, Ovetta Glover will talk about the Black History Month Parade, and humorist Kapanda Narciso will tell us about little known Black history facts. That and more coming up this week on Coping with COVID. Superior Edwards says red wine is going to have people pregnant 9 months from now. Shut up, Superior. But it is good. It is good for your heart health. Listen, as usual, I leave you with a spiritual reading. We've been reading this book from Cheryl Williams with Agape Counseling and Training Services. This is called Conversations with God. And this says, I know you were speaking to me, not with words, but with your soul. Just as you were speaking to me, you heard me inwardly in your soul speaking to you. I know you have a strong desire to know me better, and you desire to please me. You are someone after my heart. I knew you before you were born, before you were even conceived. I know you are saying, Lord, what would you have me to do? I'm saying to you, go forth with what you have started. I have already prepared you for this purpose. So continue to seek me, and all things will be given to you. Trust me, for I know all about you because I created you. That's Conversations with God from Cheryl Williams with Agape Counseling and Training Services. Contact her. If you are having some challenges coping with COVID, I do not miss a month on the couch, virtually or physically. And this is her Conversations with God. Listen, I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you again so much for joining us. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. And we look forward to checking you out and seeing you again next Wednesday. Until the next time, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. Take care, stay well, get your vaccine, and I don't care what they say, mask mandate or not, you still need to wear yours over your nose and under your chin. See you guys later.
of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success in improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive, ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting learning what you can do, 6 days to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping. Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success in improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive, ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting learning what you can do, 6 days to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever.